another intriguing episode of APAC Presents People Orbit, fueling conversations around talent landscape. Today we have with us Ms. Pooja Minocha from Bata India as a CHRO, sharing her insights on the topic salesperson to brand ambassador, upskilling retail associates for impact. We welcome you on board, Pooja. It's a pleasure for us to be speaking with you. Just to give a brief introduction of our today's topic that we're going to speak on, in today's competitive retail landscape, frontline associates are evolving from mere salespeople to influential brand ambassadors. Now, by equipping them with comprehensive product knowledge and aligning them with the brand's mission and enhancing their customer engagement skills, retailers today they can foster deep connections with consumers. We've rightly seen across segments in India. And this transformation not only elevates the customer experience, but it also drives increased loyalty and sales growth to an extent. Now, investing in associate upskilling is therefore a strategic move for companies, to move toward the segment of sustained brand success in India specifically. Pooja, I open the forum to you with my first question. What, in your view, does the transition from traditional salesperson to a brand ambassador, looks like in your organization or specific in any other organization? And how has this shift impacted customer experience and brand loyalty?
Sure. Thank you so much, Sugandha, for inviting me for this lovely podcast and team APAC People Orbit. It's a pleasure to share my views, to connect with the larger retail industry as well as teams that are working in this industry.
Right.
To your question, what really makes is the magic wand that makes a very good salesman into a brand ambassador is only one magic wand, and that's passion. And it's customer service driving from the passion of the individual. And what do I mean by that? Any product or any service that a salesman is armed with to build customer experience is the game changer as how we deliver the sale. How are we redefining, or how we have absolutely achieved getting passion in the purpose that the salesperson are driving are 2 or 3 key elements, right? Okay. They're not just helping us sell shoes. That's the basic need of our product as terms of why the customer walks it into our store or logs in into our website to buy our product. It's a lifestyle that the salesperson is trying to deliver. What suits the individual or the customer? And it's just not about lifestyle. It's also about comfort with style. That's a single purpose vision that as a salesman, am I able to deliver this experience with my product story as well as the experience as a salesman I'm giving to my customer? So it's comfort with style, and therefore am I elevating my customer's experience and reaching to their lifestyle needs? That's number 1. 2, any kind of personalized attention. So very important part of customer experience and brand loyalty is personalization. Understanding the need and the intent as soon as the customer is connecting with you. And when does the customer connect? Not when they're coming and talking to you or asking you as a salesperson what they need, but with what aspiration have they entered the store? Which side of the store that they're looking for? For whom are they looking for? And what is the difference between their need and their want? As a salesperson, I will be able to easily identify their need. Okay, I need a pair of shoes to run. Okay, but what is their want? Maybe a shoe which is more than a run or a walk shoe, maybe athleisure, maybe something that they can wear to work as well as for fun. Am I able to drive that ambition of customers is where the customer service and the brand loyalty is achieved and arrived. So that's where it comes. Then, of course, there is the whole brand heritage, innovation, and legacy that we bring for our customers.
See, while you've listed a framework of what exactly is a salesperson and how he transforms a brand identity, it is also made to understand that, World Economic Forum's recent Future of Job report, it states that, 50% of employees will need reskilling by 2025. Now, when it
Yeah.
comes to the framework that you've designed of what a customer aspiration or an expectation is and how you can fulfill. My question to you is, how is your organization preparing retail associates for this shift of reskilling, especially in
Sure.
the roles where human interaction drives brand perception?
It's a great question, Sugandh. My my contribution to or my response to this is that upskilling, reskilling is a continuous cycle at Bata India. And it's
Okay.
as small a topic of if there is a new accessory that's got onto the shoe, or a new, and as large as a new technology or a new brand that we are trying to bring on the store. So that's the canvas that the sales team operate on. So their agility to understand the technology as well as the customer intent on the shoe is trained and retained and retrained on a regular basis, as close as to 15 to 30 days, every 15 to 30 days. That's number
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Number two, which is a big enabler for our sales team, is reskilling them on technology. How much is technology helping them ease their job so they can decomplexize and focus more on interactions with the customer and understanding their want, then following the back-end processes. So the AI and the digital back-end system has been made so simple and decomplex their role that all their reporting, their processes, their back-end support on stocks, their employee management, as well as product details are easily available on fingertips on a single system that they can upskill, reskill them on the go as and when needed. We've
Okay.
also aided them with very fun, gamified ways on training them on various product and brand features, which regularly helps them also build their knowledge on various product and customer needs. The last is continuously helping us understand from them where are the customer needs and want shifting. So a very close ear to the ground helps us with reverse training as to what are my customers feeling and saying. And then we institutionalize it back to rest of our stores so that we are ahead and leading the customer experience and expectations than lagging.
Very rightly, a point that I would like to point out is that you're focusing on customer expectation and how happy they are from your
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah.
But if we see in comparison to other brands, what Bata is doing, are your frameworks just in form of checklist, or are you actually putting in efforts to train your on shop floor employees or your retail employees on how to deal with customers and how to woo their expectations? Or is it, just a matter of fact that, because we are into a competitive market and we have to have certain frameworks, and these are the frameworks that, Bata follows?
Sure. So we have both. In
Okay.
any For anything to be successful, there are two key ingredients. One is talent, and second is discipline, right? And therefore, when it comes to training our teams, there is a very strong discipline. One may call it tick mark, but it is extremely important that they understand how the store has to be managed from morning 10 a.m. to evening 10 p.m. at any point of time, whether it is about how the cleanliness of the store is, the display of the products is the grooming of the teams, is about experience the customer should have, how does conflict get managed if the customer is aggravated, how do you deal with any kind of unknown situations, how do you keep your calm and composure. These are the things that they have to be disciplined regularly, daily, right? So that it becomes a habit and therefore a belief, a DNA of this is how Bata stores are run. And for this, one has to reinforce daily, weekly, monthly checklist so that it's never missed at any point of time. So that's like the hygiene, non-compromisable. The
Now,
second bit, sorry, the second bit is really on the areas which is going to give us the beyond discipline, which is how do you take the talent of the team to drive success. At the end, we want customers to get what they need from the shoe and we to get good customer experience. That's the win-win situation. And that comes when our associates who have the talent in selling, and that's why they are our sales associate in driving sales execution or sales excellence, is where how do you find that spark and passion to help them why customer experience is far more important than driving so many number of pair of shoe sales, or that kind of average sale per transaction, or whatever other KPIs. How do we differentiate? I told you on the hybrid model where you have the basics which takes care of the discipline that we want to drive as an organization. On talent is really focusing clearly on customer experience and meeting the customer expectations. And that's driven regularly through the inputs that we receive from the stores, as well as how we recraft our training modules to ensure that customer experience through different modules, different parameters is driven again month on month, depending on the season, depending on the geography.
there is so much of investment that goes around in upskilling and reskilling your employees and actually training them on the grooming part and to
Yeah,
take care of the customer expectation. But if you see retail industry, in this industry specifically, the attrition rate is very high, up to
correct,
60% in some markets according to NPR reports, NRF
correct,
reports. Sorry.
correct.
So, how does this continuous learning and career development affects the associate retention and loyalty to the brand?
Yeah, that's a very good question. First, let's understand why do we have high attrition in an industry like retail.
Yeah, sure.
As an industry, we are very large and very old. However, academically, we are not an aspirational industry for students to pick versus many other industries, right? So they may pick up financial industry or IT industry as their first choice as a student to build their careers. I don't think so. They are aware about the richness of retail industry and what careers they can make lifetime.
Is it the
Give
lack of education that they have for the retail segment?
awareness is what I would say.
Okay.
In typically teams that join a retail industry is because they believe that they are good salesmen and they may want to, it's a shop that's available corner of my house, let me make some weekend money, or money that can fill in my basic needs. How many of these students or young talented youth are coming to us to aspire for a career in retail? Very few, even at from a graduation level. And that is something that we are not very popular in the mainstream academic area, as well as our awareness on how careers can be made in retail has been limited. So there's some work to be done as an industry in that space. But once they join us from a retail, any organization in the retail, they realize that it's an ocean of career opportunities that they can explore, not only from a sales perspective, but also many other core businesses functions like merchandising, like product, like even finance for that matter, or customer excellence. That's one area where therefore when people realize that this is for them or not, the attrition is high. Second, how to answer to your question, how does continuous training and career development is therefore kept intact? Since we are aware that we will be dealing with a dynamic population or employee base, we ensure the consistency of our training programs is more than once at a given point of time. The content is simple, more frequently addressed to ensure the attrition bridge is covered, as well as we ensure that it is not too technical for somebody who's even early starter in their career for them to understand. And therefore, that's when they begin their journey. As they get mature into roles, senior into various roles, from stylist to senior stylist to sales promoters to assistant managers, the complexity of training therefore increases, and that's where the richness of their own skill development improves, and they're able to appreciate, okay, if I have done these things well, given the basic training and product knowledge, now I move to the next level given my performance. This is where I want to make my career. And therefore, those trainings, both in person as well as virtual, are enabled to the individual to be able to perform better at the higher level. That frequency is lesser. However, it's much more intense and richer for the individual to succeed.
Do you also incur a few challenges in drafting or planning for the upskilling of your retail employees? I mean, do you see that stiffness from them that अभी इतना ही हमको आता है और इतना ही करना है because this is what you paying us, और इससे बाहर we don't want to go, since you say that graduates also do not understand retail as a career choice because for them it is just a part-time job.
So and it's a good question, where we invest is when we have our sales promoters working with us. There's a lot of hand-holding given to them as to what they're going to do other than selling our products and customer experiences, how their careers will be enriched as they enter Bata. Now, there are people who then lynch onto this and are more interested to see how they can grow than only making the money through incentives or product sales. Once that's differentiated, we do have challenges in converting those teams that are performing really well, or those employees who can do well. However, they are not very keen to continue as salesmen in the retail space, or for whatever reason. They want to pursue a further education, or they see a different stream of career coming to them. That's when the training challenges come in, that how do we increase our conversion and grow talent within the organization at various senior levels within the store teams, then hiring from outside. And how does training, handholding, onboarding, reskilling is going to play a pivotal role? That's the biggest challenge I can say we address. We have attempted, we've been successful, but the dynamism, the way we are spread in more than 500 cities, 1,500 stores plus 2,000 point of sale, it is extremely complicated. And sometimes it's the reverse.
To what extent, Pooja, have you been able to change this mindset of transactional selling to relationship-based brand theory?
That I would say we've been successful upwards of 70% in our key markets. The balance, I think, really comes from once the customers have experienced what Bata products are. Even if we are a little shy on experience, but that gives us a customer coming back to us, retention of customer. However, the 30% is also a big gap that we would like to fill But that
Right.
30% will always remain 30% in my view, and I'm being probably a little conservative, because the dynamism of consumer changes and changes very fast. And any organization that says I am upwards of 70, I would have my doubt that have they really understood their market and consumers good enough. It's very unpredictable. I would say even to a 50% perspective. You don't know what your consumer are going to expect 6 months from now. And
Is it
footwear has not is
changing trends?
so
Because
footwear is
fashion
no
trends
more.
keep changing.
Absolutely. Footwear is no more an occasion wear anymore. It has become a lifestyle, like your any other apparel. And now even many other products are going in that, like spectacles, or it's no more non-fashionable. Nothing that we wear can be said, okay, this is for fashion and this is for my needs. Everything is converting from need to want. We are spoiled for choices as a consumer. And therefore,
Earlier was
the
associated for comfort wearing. I have been hearing this from my grandparents and my parents that, when it comes to fashion, they had this stereotype in mindset in their minds.
right,
Bata is not for fashion. Bata is for a
right,
comfort. And
correct.
Bata is something that you can take for a buy that is a long last kind of a buy
Mhm.
comparison to other brands. In your view, now how would you associate skill development contribution to this personal sense of ownership and alignment with brand values?
I hear two things. One is about fashion, and second is about ownership and brand value connect. On fashion, let us say many years ago, decades back, it was comfort that consumers would look at on footwear, because they would not regularly change their footwear for long period of time, and that was the going in principle. That was only occasion wears, weddings, festivals, they would have a special wear, right? But largely, if there's an office wear, it remains office wear. There's a home wear, that remains home wear, and then there are all the occasion wear. It was very segmented that way, and therefore Bata stood out as the game changer as well as a leader in footwear to address to these needs. Over years, consumer needs changes and has changed, where it has become even footwear is fashionable other than just the festive fashion. So it's
Okay.
no more blingy shoes, the typical ones that our generation back wore. They want blingy sneakers also. So it's a lot of hybrid aspirational consumer needs that are coming because they're spoiled with choices, or they're able to do it themselves with a lot of accessories today available.
But comfort still goes hand in hand, na? If
It
a
does.
bride is switching from high heels, 2.53 inches heels on her wedding day to a comfort wear blingy shoes, then comfort is still the fact of the matter that it still
Correct.
hits around the customer's mind.
And you're absolutely right. And that's the reason, that's one area, comfort. If you'll see years on year, Bata has retained that as its core product value proposition. And today also we stand with comfort with style, which means fashion, meeting the needs of my consumer that needs both all the time, every day, not only style on special occasions, but every day I want to look stylish. Every day I need comfort. So sometimes occasion wears were not comfortable, to be honest. But because
Fair
it
enough.
was
We today, yes.
fancy, we compromised on comfort. However, we as in consumers were okay to compromise. However, where our core lies in the past as well as in future would be to combine the two and continue remain dynamic on the style as well as the fashion statement. So that's where it. To your second question on driving customer loyalty as well as the brand is, I think we've spoken earlier. It's very critical that these two levers core value proposition of our product, along with every time the customer comes to our store, they are experience exactly the same value proposition. And that's where the experience and brand loyalty will get cemented more and more with every time I experience a Bata product.
Okay. And is there something that you would like to embed into the minds of retail employees, that when it comes to working for a retail company or for any other retail brand, so these are certain points or 4 or 5 key takeaways that an employer should always keep in mind in order to train their retail associates?
All right. In my mind, it would be that it's just not about the retail teams or the store teams. It's also about the entire organization that's behind the store team for them to be successful. So any and everyone that works for a retail organization, whether the role is in the store or outside the store, I would say that, are we keeping the customer needs in mind, and are we keeping the customer wants in mind every time, and not compromising on both? So what's not the mid path, but what's the best part, so that both of these needs and wants are addressed in every shoe or every product as a retailer that I am offering to my consumer who is aspirational. So let's not undermine that the consumers come to us only because they have to meet their needs. Every consumer has an aspiration, has a want, has a desire. Are you addressing that? Whether they have it or not, are you able to unbox it and get that out? So I think every retailer should keep that point in when they're designing their product or delivering their product. The second is obsession with consumers. Are we obsessed?
How?
Do we really know our consumers? Are we really addressing not their problems, but also, not their wants, but also their problems? Because many times our product is not addressing their problem, or they are having a problem with our product. And therefore, what is my customer service post my sale? The third piece is how I am getting my non-store teams, rest of my functions, or my management team behind this core purpose. Many times we become so operational in our work that we are not as retail stroke consumer focused in every part of the organization as much the store team is. So how do you bring the non-store team at the front end to feel and experience what the store team experiences every day? If you're able to bridge these two experiences within the employees, within the larger organization together into one unified purpose, as a retailer, we can achieve much more, much faster with the same amount of efforts that we put into it.
Fair enough. There were the comprehensive 3 points that you've given for employers to actually keep in mind while training their retail employees. Now, in conclusion to our today's conversation, I would say that transforming retail associates into brand ambassadors today, it's a strategic imperative in today's dynamic retail environment, and pretty important. Investing in comprehensive training, fostering a culture of empowerment, and equipping these associates with right tools at right point in time. Retailers, this way they can enhance customer engagement and drive brand loyalty to its extent of where they want to drive their organization to. This evolution not only enriches the shopping experience, but it also contributes to the sustained sales growth, which is a very important aspect into any why would I say retail, but any other enterprise or any other company into any other segment. Ultimately the empowered associates, they become the face of brand eventually, embodying its values and delivering exceptional services that resonates with customers. embracing this approach positions retailers for long time success, in any increasing competitive market. And this is actually the way to go about it, is what I would sum in today's conversation. People who are hearing this podcast, if they still have any questions or still want to speak with Pooja and get out some other responses, because from her analysis and experience, the kind of responses that she's shared is pretty comprehensive in its approach, and the analysis was intact. I would like to congratulate you, Pooja, for that excellent examples you've given. Still, people who still have questions would want to speak with her and take something from her experience. You can put your queries into the LinkedIn comment section, and she'll be happy to respond to all your queries. Thank you, Pooja. It
Absolutely.
was lovely speaking with you. And kudos to the analysis and the examples that you've given in order to explain the queries and the topic in such a comprehensive manner. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sugandha. Really appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you.